Hello again. You're hearing the last episode of my story, how I grew from a 13-year-old to a 73-year-old. When I was about 15, I went on holiday to Wales, to a town called Tredegar, as my old Sunday school teacher had got married and lived there, and she'd invited us to go there for a holiday. That was myself and two other girls that were friends of mine, sort of, and in the youth group. Whilst we were in Tredegar, we were once again in the midst of a Brethren assembly, and we were expected to join in with what happened. And on Sunday, after the service, the brethren and some others from the church, including the young people, went to the town centre, and one of the brothers might have had a soapbox, and he stood on it, and he started to preach to the people that were walking around. And he was telling them how they really needed to stop in their tracks and consider that they needed to come to God. I don't remember anybody taking any notice. And to be honest, looking back on it, I think I would have been quite happy if the pavement had swallowed me up, because it was a very confrontational way of telling people, hey, guess what? Jesus really loves you. And it didn't quite come over like that. After we got married and we were in a Baptist church in Medway, we started to deliver a thing called The Good News, which was a newspaper. And it was all about topical matters from a Christian point of view. And I used to deliver this to a road that I knew quite well because my sister used to live there. And I'd knock on the door and I'd hand it over. But I never actually had a meaningful conversation with anyone. Never got that far. Until one day, when I was trying to cross a road, I noticed that a young girl had got knocked over. And she was the daughter of one of the families that I delivered the newspaper to. So I was able to help that family by going straight to their house after an ambulance had been called. No mobile phones in those days. And telling them what had happened and staying with their younger children so that they could go to the hospital to see their daughter. Now, not much happened after that. I like to think that maybe they looked on the bringer of the Good News newspaper with some affection after helping them. But it never really took off as a way of saying, hey, guess what? Jesus really loves you. A gentleman came here to this church a little while ago who is responsible for a group in the Costa Rica called Education Plus. And he wrote a book, and I bought a copy off of John, one of his friends. And it is quite eye-opening because it talks about people not being projects. And in fact, Fleur shared that with us in a reflection some time ago, how when she gets to know people and prays for them, they're not a project. They're a living person that has hopes and dreams and fears and weaknesses and strengths. And she relates with that person. And that is what this man, I can't remember his name now, in Education Plus does. He lives in an area in Costa Rica, and he relates to people. He helps them in any way that he can. And one of the biggest ways is education, because education can lift people out of poverty. And he's now surrounded by a group that are working with him. Some of them were the children that were educated. So the group has grown. And I was absolutely delighted to hear that Dave's brother John, who is a retired minister in the Vale of Evesham, the church where he was the minister have called a new minister. His name's Neville. And that church has very similar goings on, like the Gap. They meet people's needs. And they were going to have a sort of a meal one day. People were invited in from anywhere to come and share a free meal. And one of the people that were helping said to the minister, "Shall I put some tracts out on the table, little leaflets that sort of answer people's questions and explain the need for Jesus?" And he said, "Absolutely not. This is about getting to know people, talking to them, being a friend, getting alongside, building a relationship. It's not a project. It's about letting people know firsthand in the most wonderful way, hey, Jesus really loves you. And guess what? Jesus really loves you and me, and I'm so thankful. See you again soon. Bye.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior